Hey folks, Eric Bray, Focus Fishing Guide Service. Got another video fishing report for you for Table Rock. It is Wednesday, June the 13th. I had a full day yesterday, and with a little bit of a rain delay and everything else, it was kind of late getting off the water, so wound up not shooting a video yesterday, getting it done today instead. As far as our lake level is concerned, we are at 917.12 as of this afternoon. Puts us just a little bit above normal summertime pool. Corps has been running some water to meet power generation needs, and they are still pulling beaver down. It's getting pretty close, so they have had to fluctuate the water and keep that flushing through here. But really, lake's right where we want it to be for this time of year. As far as our water temperature is concerned, 84, 85. You get up in the rivers, you'll see 86, 87. Up the Kings, you'll see 90, 91. I mean, it's hot, guys. It's the lake has warmed up in a hurry this year, so we are definitely in a summertime pattern. We are catching fish, though. I tell you, it's been, with it being a summertime pattern for the first couple of weeks of June, the fishing's actually been really, really good. Some days are a little bit better than others, but it's been really good. Had a great day today. Caught them 4 or 5 different ways here in the Kimberling City area, and just had a blast. Caught a lot of good fish and had a good time. Probably had, I don't know, 14, 15 keepers today. Caught them on top, caught them deep, caught them in the middle, just caught them where we wanted to catch them. But say you guys are coming down, want to fish the lower end of the lake, I'm going to be honest with you, the lower end's pretty tough right now. Last 2 or 3 times I've been down there, it's been a much tougher bite. Not that you can't catch fish, but it's been a much tougher bite on the lower end than, say, here in Kimberling or up the White or up the James. You can still catch fish. Number one bait you want to have right now is going to be a drop shot rig. Catching a lot of fish on a drop shot out on those long gravel run out points on the main lake. Most of them have been 24 to about 35 feet deep. Catching them on the shad-shaped worm, as always, catching them on the cut-tail worm, catching them on a chomper's drop shot worm, and we're catching them on a UV drop shot worm. So all the normal drop shot bites are working, or baits are working. You're going to have to work a little bit harder for them if you go down the dam area. Most of them, you really won't see them. You'll drop to the bottom, one will raise up and bite it, and then you'll have 2 or 3 follow it to the boat, so try to stay on top of those fish. And then once you get past about 8:30, 9 o'clock, it makes it pretty tough to fish down there by the dam. Just the boat traffic is really, really crazy so far this year. I think it's worse than it's been in years past, but you've got a lot of boat traffic to deal with, so either main lake points or the secondaries and the bigger creek arms down there, like, Beardsley's got some fish in it, Indian Point's got some fish in it, those areas there. Still catching a few on a topwater down there as well, first thing of the morning, but it's kind of a hit and miss pattern. One day you'll do really well with it. Next day you'll catch 3 or 4. It just kind of depends. Keep a topwater out though, because they have been coming up and chasing shad throughout the day. Most of the fish are around trees. Most of them are on gravel or gravel mixed with rock points. Some of them inside in the creek, some of them out on the points. It's just a matter of finding shad. If you find the shad, you will find fish you can catch on a topwater. Spook's been good. Yozuri Popar has been pretty good. The Whopper Plopper's been pretty good. The smaller one actually seems to be catching a few more fish than the bigger one right now. And a Sammy. All those have been good. And then we have been catching them on a spoon down there too. Both the Jewel Scuba spoon, fishing it vertically in those same locations, those same long gravel runouts that we're using the drop shot on, and starting to catch a few on a Dixie Jet too. And casting the Dixie Jet, 3/4 ounce, 1 ounce in white, throwing it out, counting it down, getting it down about 10 feet, and just kind of burning it and killing it. We have been catching some fish on a Dixie Jet as well. So have a spoon tied on if you're down there. The nice thing about a spoon is if you've got them busting a ways away from you, you can make a longer cast with that than you can a topwater, and you can usually catch those fish on a spoon just like you can on a topwater. Come here in Kimberling City, and like I said, we caught them really good today here. Caught them 3 or 4 different ways. Started off with a topwater. Caught a few on a topwater, some pretty decent fish on a topwater too. Topwater bite was, I wouldn't say it was great, but it was pretty good. We caught a few fish on it. And then we started to notice that the shad were down about 10 feet. The shad weren't right on the surface, so we weren't getting as many bites, so we switched up to a swim bait, throwing either the Kitech 2.8 or the Bass Pro Speed Shad 3-inch on a 1/4 ounce head, throwing it out where we were seeing the shad, counting it down and just slow rolling it back, just reeling it in nice, even, steady pace. Caught a few fish doing that. Caught a few fish up here on the Dixie Jet as well. Same sort of deal, throwing it out, letting it settle down to about 10 feet, burning it and killing it and burning it and kill it. And we caught some good fish doing that. Had a real nice largemouth and one real big Kentucky doing that this morning. And then once the sun got a little bit higher, we switched up and started drop shotting. Really did well with the drop shot rig down this way. Caught a lot of fish out on those gravel runouts, on those gravel humps, and around trees or brush piles on those gravel runouts and gravel humps. Anywhere from about 24 to about 35 feet deep, using the shad shape, using the cut tail, using the Chomper's drop shot worm, and using the UV drop shot worm. All those baits were working. Caught fish on all those today. Like I said, we had a pretty good day. We probably had, I don't know, 14, 15 keepers and another probably 20 fish to go with it. So pretty good for a morning trip this morning. Drop shot, swim bait, topwater, and the Dixie Jet. Those were our best baits here. Go up into the James. Now James is a little bit different. We're getting some different bites starting up the James. Really started catching them on a football jig up the James this past week. Most of them are on longer gravel points. Fish seem to be in that 18 to 24 foot range. Throwing the Jewel, either the 1/2 ounce or 5/8 ounce football jig, matching it up with either a speed craw or a brush hog or a beaver, one of the three. And I'm really liking that brush hog on there. It seems like it's a little bit bigger bait, get a little bit bigger bite. But basically working gravel and gravel mixed with rock points, both on the main lake and in the bigger creek arms, out from about 18 to about 24, 25 foot deep. Really seems to be where those fish are. Working it slow along the bottom, maybe giving it the occasional hop, getting it up off the bottom. Catching a lot of fish doing that. Brown purple flash was really good. Okeechobee blue was really good. And caught a few on Missouri craw too. So good colors on the football jig. Catching a lot of fish on a football jig. Catching them on the Dixie Jet up there too. Throwing it, casting it out, letting it sink down to about 10 or 15 feet, wherever the shad are at, burning it and killing it. Started to catch a few on the Dixie Jet this past week as well. And we're still catching them on a topwater. Morning topwater bite. The James probably has the best topwater bite, or most consistent topwater bite of anywhere on the lake right now. And you just got to look for the shad. If you find the shad, especially if they're up near the surface, make sure you're throwing a spook, Yozuri popper, Sammy, whopper plopper, whatever you like to throw. Make sure you're throwing that around those schools of shad in the James River as well. Up into the White, and really from Baxter all the way up to Big M, actually probably all the way up to Eagle Rock. The bite's been really strong. Drop shot bite's great. Catching a lot of fish on a drop shot rig up there. Same baits. Shad shaped worm, cut tail worm, the UV drop shot worm, and the Chomper's drop shot worm. Again, most of the fish are in that 24 to 35 foot range. Right on the bottom if you're fishing the pea gravel points and pea gravel runouts, or out in the trees. Caught a lot of fish out in the trees this past week. Most of them, the trees can be, I don't know, heck, we were catching them over 100 foot of water the other day. The trees, it really doesn't matter the overall depth in the trees, but you want those trees that top out between about 25 and 35 foot deep. Those seem to be the most productive trees. Caught a lot of fish on a drop shot rig this past week. Catching them on a topwater up there as well. Spook, super spook. Yozuri popper, the whopper plopper, and the Sammy. All those baits are working, catching a lot of fish on a topwater up there. Seems like those fish are relating more to trees in the creeks, the bigger creeks like Big Creek, Mill Creek, even up into the Kings River. Seems like the better fish that we've been catching have been relating to trees, standing timber. Even if you don't see the tree, if you know there's a tree there, throw around it. It seems like we're catching some better fish up that way, especially if there's shad around. Did see a little bit of a shad spawn going on up there last week too. So if you see that shad spawn, make sure you have a topwater tied on. Started catching them on a swim bait again up there too. Both the Kitech 3.8, 2.8, 3.3, and the Bass Pro Speed Shed. Both those baits are working. Throwing on a 1/4 ounce head. Seems like if the topwater bite starts to wane a little early, like 6:10, 6:15, 6:30. Pick up a swim bait and you can catch some more fish on it, because those fish aren't really sinking that far down, but the problem is the shad are just not coming all the way to the surface. If you get a little bit of cloud cover like we had this morning, the shad really didn't lift all the way up. So if you've got a little bit of cloud cover, or you're not seeing the shad on the surface but you can see them on your graph, Throw a swim bait out there, count it down to about 10 feet, 15 feet, and then just slow roll it in. Just reel it in slow. Kill it every once in a while if you want to, but you really don't have to, and you'll catch a few fish on that as well. Jewel football jig's working up there too. Caught several fish on some gravel runouts around Shell Knob last week on a jewel football jig. 1/2 ounce, 5/8 ounce, Okeechobee blue, brown purple flash were my two best colors. Did catch a few on peanut butter and jelly up there too. Seemed like they want a little bit smaller bait up there though, because I've not really done as well with the brush hog as a trailer. Doing better with either a speed craw or a beaver as a trailer on it. I'm working it slow across the bottom, hopping it over rocks. If I feel something on the bottom, I try to make sure I fish it real thoroughly. And also catching them on a spoon. Jewel scuba spoon in the same spots we're catching them on the drop shot rig, and then casting the Dixie Jet. Caught a lot of fish on that white Dixie Jet last week, throwing it out, counting it down to about 10, 15 feet, burning it and killing it. And those fish will absolutely hammer it. And you catch a mixed bag doing it too. We were catching smallmouth, spots, largemouth, caught some whites doing it, some big whites, some 3 and 4 pound whites doing it. Everything that's up there feeding on shad will eat that Dixie Jet. So have a Dixie Jet tied on, throw it out there and burn it and kill it when you're bringing it back in. Guys, we are halfway through June and it's hot. It's actually kind of nice today. It's only 86. I can't believe I'm saying that. Last few days have been in the 90s. Yesterday was a nice break with that rain and cloud cover we had hanging on for most of the day. It kept the temperature down in the 80s, but it's hot, it's humid, it's summertime, but fish are biting. I mean, we're catching a lot of fish. Catching a lot of fish every trip, so it's a good time. If you guys are coming down, maybe you got a vacation plan, you want to sneak in a fishing trip, it's a good idea. I've got guys I'm taking out on Saturday, that have a little lake house down here. Struggling to catch them once it got hot, so I'm going to take them out and show them how to drop shot. But that's a great idea too. If you have a lake house and you're having you caught them in the spring and now you're not catching them, give me a call, I'll show you how to drop shot. But maybe you got a derby coming up. I don't think there's going to be a lot of tournaments this summer, but if you do have a tournament coming up, maybe even a club tournament, and you want to get a little edge on your competition, give me a call. I'll be happy to help you out with that as well. But anyway, if you're coming down, you want to hire a guide, call me. It's Focus Fishing Guide Service. You can reach me at 417-860-4743. Hit my website, focusfishing.com. Shoot me an email. Book online, whichever way you want to do it. However, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I can tell you right now we're pretty booked up for June, but July is pretty open. August is open. But guys, if you're coming down, you want to hire a guide, give me a call. We'll get out there. We'll catch some fish. We'll have a good time. Thanks for watching the videos. Take a minute to subscribe if you haven't done that, but thanks for watching. Can't wait to hear from you. We'll see you on the water.